Wow. Did you know that apparently Delta 8 poses health risks? Unregulated Delta 8 that can be bought just anywhere can be, can make you sick. At least according to one mommy. Okay, let's get into this. And I'm not making light of mom. Okay, mom's worried about her child. She may or may not be uneducated. I don't know. I really don't. But I'm going to, give you this link and I'm going to let you be able to judge for yourself where old mom is. This is coming out of Chicago on the Fox 32 webpage, news affiliate. And unregulated Delta 8 poses a health risk. It turned our lives upside down. That's the quote, anyway. Okay. So, an increasing number of people, especially the kids, because parents are not paying attention, too busy doom scrolling and watching reels and texting with their friends, trying to get a mommy day or a daddy day, drinking wine and looking at Insta hoes and Insta dudes. I guess it's Insta bros. I don't know, man. Anyway, are being hospitalized due to poisoning from the Delta 8 weed. A product similar to cannabis, but is legal, but completely unregulated. Well, you're supposed to be a certain age to buy it, much like alcohol. And I don't know if there's any kind of regulation about what goes into it. There should be if there's not, because it is a chemical synthesis. And there should be, that's right, there should be some. But buying Delta 8 at the gas station or head shop is akin to buying drugs off the street. Consumers have no way of knowing exactly what's in it. Like MJ, Delta 8 gets users high. Unlike MJ, it exists thanks to a loophole in federal law and is sold without any kind of testing or regulation. Well, kinda, but MJ is still illegal, but being sold legally in several states. So is that kind of a loophole? Or is that just states having states' rights issues with the federal government and getting that tax money and the feds is allowing it? Makes you wonder, don't it? Okay. One Illinois resident says that she wished she knew that before she bought it. So I'm guessing she bought it and gave it to him. Delta 8 has not only altered her consciousness, it changed her life. Every parent's worst nightmare, Lori said, a middle-aged resident of Seneca, Illinois, describing what she experienced when she witnessed her daughter have a full-on meltdown after taking a Delta 8 product. I got news for you, girl. There's something else going on there. Something else. Something you can't unsee, she says. I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy. Well, seeing your child do anything like that that could be very true. I'm definitely not making fun of you, Lori, but let's check on your daughter a little bit. Lori and her daughter asked to protect their identities, of course, due to the sensitive subject. Lori said her daughter, who suffered from PTSD, then what? And had been using medical MJ, then why do you need Delta? Bought Delta 8 at a gas station thinking it was the same thing. I hope that ain't my coffee. It smells weird, but because I think it's this story, okay? Her daughter had an immediate mental and physical reactions. It wasn't my daughter. One minute she was angry, then she was happy. She was a little girl singing little girl songs. She had no control over her own body. Well, if she's also taking some MJ, I mean, maybe too much of a good thing is a bad thing. I felt like I was in a movie, her daughter said. Every morning I woke up, when I saw people in a hallucinatory state, they kept saying, Season 1, Episode 2, Episode 3. Now, that's just dramatic for nothing. Doctors diagnosed her with a drug-induced psychosis and had trouble treating her because they weren't sure there were other substances present in the Delta 8. Well, it's called pharmacology. You ought to be able to take a blood test and see what's in her system, and you might have an idea of what's up. Did you talk to the doctor? Or are you just talking to this woman and her daughter? Did the doctor tell you this? I know better. Because once they get into that blood, they know. They know. It wasn't laced with anything. We just think it was an extremely high dose that triggered this hallucinatory effect. Well, maybe. Lori's daughter spent nearly a month in a hospital psychiatric ward before being transferred to an outpatient facility. She said she is recovering now thanks to a variety of psychiatric medications and especially the help of a PTSD service dog. Well, they had that. She had PTSD before, apparently, and she didn't need to be using psychotropics during if you've got this problem. Come on, man. I got that degree. I got a degree in psychology. I know that's true. Dr. Stevens acts a toxicology specialist at the Cook County Health and Hospital System, said the particular danger with Delta 8 is that what you see in the head shop window and on the packaging isn't necessarily what you get. Now, he did not apparently treat this person, so I think they're just getting him for news here. We don't know what the dose, we don't know the dose, the quantity. You'd have a range of effects, and it's not predictable because you don't know what the dose is. There have been nearly 9,000 cases of Delta 8 poisoning reported to National Poison Control Center in the last 3 years. Well, I mean, think how many people's in America, how many doses, how many units get sold a year, and there's more and more of them. And I mean, can that be said about alcohol? Can that be said about food? Like any food, like, food poisoning. How many food poisons do we get a year? Are we dead on with that? I have to look into that. I might do that for you. 41% of the cases involve children below the age 18. Well, their parents should be checking on them, and then they have to ask themselves how they got a hold of such things. The Illinois General Assembly considered but ultimately failed to pass a ban on hemp-derived products like Delta 8 this spring, thanks to furious lobbying from hemp retailers. That's how they make their money, man. Much like the tobacco lobby does. However, Governor J.B. Pritzker said lawmakers should make it priority in the coming months. Well, they do need to regulate that in some way. That's true. But hold the retailer and the parents responsible for the sales. Your kid buys it and you find it out, you need to confiscate that. How are they paying for it, for starters? And then the retailer, did you sell it? If they can prove it, bust them. He goes on to say there needs to be regulation of these products, period, end of sentence. Well, that's what a period does, Pritzker. A period shows us the end of a sentence. I think we're going to see movement on it in the veto session in November or January. Ugh. The hemp industry said it would welcome the same regulation as legal cannabis shops, where the legal industry wants Delta 8 run out of town entirely. Yeah, because it gets in the way of their sales. So Big Weed is going to be pushing to get rid of Delta 8 products so that it doesn't get in the way of their sales. There are 800 pages of regulation regulating these stores, and there are none regulating the stores that are selling substances that are intoxicating from the same plant. Well, I agree. There should be stuff like that. It should tell you how that can be sold. But I mean, it goes without saying that you should sell that ethically. Charles Wu, who owns a legal Delta 8 cafe called Chativa, said the statement has pushed businesses like his to self-police to root out bad actors such as gas station and head shops. Well, Charles, I got news for you. Um, Bad actors are the usual suspects, usually, and these people are well known by the man, and why the man hasn't done something about it, that's a question for them. Okay. So anyway, apparently, he goes on to say, we're currently in the process of developing standards so consumers know it's not just, well, police yourself, Charles, in all honesty. And, nobody voted you in for nothing. All right. And I hope that Lori and her daughter get some things worked out here. I hate that for you. But, if you've got PTSD, maybe you shouldn't be using substances that aren't prescribed to you. And then, of course, they go on to talk about old Mary Miller here has introduced this amendment, and which is always bad news. But anyway, I'll put a link in the article. You check it out. But apparently, some stuff's going on here, and we need to look into that. And you do too, because if you ain't careful, they're going to get rid of something that we all sell a lot of, and that'd be bad.